Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my 8-week update. It's definitely kind of weird filming this video because, this video is pre-filmed, I guess you can call it. I'm not going to end up posting this until we actually announce. So it's weird. It's weird for me saying it on camera because we haven't even told our parents yet or anything, no one in our family knows. So, yeah. So, today I'm just gonna be talking about kind of what my experience has been like. I guess I'll kind of go back to the beginning, most early symptoms up through today. And then whenever I do my next pregnancy update, it'll be, today through whenever that is. So I think even in just the first 4 weeks, I was already starting to see some symptoms. I think the first thing I noticed was that my boobs were a little sore. But of course that can also happen before you get your period. So at that point I was just kind of one of my very early symptoms that has still continued was really weird dreams. So I'm not 100% sure why this is a pregnancy thing. I think it's just the combination of hormones and just your mindset, all the thoughts in your head. But I started having crazy dreams really early on, and they're really weird dreams. They're very vivid dreams. And it might just be the fact that they're so vivid that makes them weird, because I think a lot of people tend to kind of forget their dreams. And I've also had 2 dreams where I was either in labor or had just had a baby. In the first 4 weeks, I was already starting to feel just a tiny bit more tired than I normally was. But I also had completely cut out caffeine. So, that kind of contributed to that feeling as well. There was one day around 3 or 4 weeks where I had some spotting, and I'm pretty sure that was implantation bleeding. Another symptom I had was that I would get hot very easily, very often. Not hot flashes exactly, but we ended up having to turn down the temperature in the house by a couple degrees because I would just get so hot out of nowhere. Even right now I'm kind of sweating a little bit. I guess it's just the blood flow in my body, increased blood volume or something like that. In the first 4 weeks I kind of had, I would say there were 2 cravings I had. One was just chicken, which is so weird, but I think that was just my body being you need more protein. And the other one, also very weird, was watermelon, which I don't even like watermelon, and for some reason I was just really craving it. And unfortunately it was right at the end of watermelon season, or right after watermelon went out of season. So I did buy some and it was not very good at all. It was just kind of mealy. So that was really disappointing. So in weeks 4 through 8, I would say pretty much all the symptoms I talked about continued. So let me think if there's anything additional on top of that. So I feel something that everyone always says is peeing a lot. I feel I've always kind of peed a lot, and I'm also not super great at drinking water. I'm trying to be better about that. So I feel I pee pretty much the same as I used to, maybe just a tiny bit more. One thing that happened around 4 to 5 weeks was I started getting out of breath kind of easily. And I feel it's very early to have that kind of a symptom. I feel that shouldn't be something that happens until the baby's a little bit bigger and taking up more space up here. But yeah, I noticed that if I'm talking a lot, all of a sudden I'll have to be I don't notice it when I'm walking around the house or anything like that, but it's more when I'm talking I'll notice. Around 5 weeks I started to feel a little bit hungrier. And it's hard to say if I was actually hungry or if I was just having to be more responsive to my hunger, if that makes sense. So I didn't feel nauseous if I let myself get too hungry, but I just kind of felt like not great. So like whenever I start to get hungry, I'm always like, okay, it's time to eat now. Like, whereas before I'd be like, oh, I'm a little bit hungry, let me eat, you know, in an hour or so. As soon as I get a little bit hungry, if I don't start making food, I will literally end up having to just like grab something out of the pantry. Like, thankfully I have like, you know, healthy-ish things. Like I have like some granola bars and stuff like that. Around 5 weeks, I started to have this like kind of like sore tongue feeling, which like I didn't even think was a pregnancy thing, but I feel like I've gotten in the habit of every single time I feel like anything unusual, I just Google like blah 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 pregnancy, and literally 99% of the time like it's like, oh yeah, this is a pregnancy thing. So like sometimes it feels like my tongue is like I burnt my tongue on something, but it's I don't know exactly what causes it. Maybe it's like hormones or something. Thankfully it doesn't really bother me because it's like really like an on and off thing that just happens on the odd occasion. Around 5 weeks was also when I started to have some spotting, and at this point like I knew it was too late for it to be like implantation bleeding, and it honestly surprised me a lot. I definitely thought the first time I saw that that I was gonna have a miscarriage again. And so that was definitely really hard. Like I remember coming out of the bathroom and just laying on the couch and crying because I just really thought that that was it, you know. But I mean, that's also the reason why we chose to wait to tell people. Like, I feel like the whole not telling people until the end of the first trimester thing is, you know, a personal decision, but I feel like it's kind of controversial in my opinion that like there's almost this like stigma that you're not allowed to tell people until the end of the first trimester, or that like you are forced to keep this a secret. But that's a story for another day. Like originally we did intend to start telling people, at least like our immediate family, earlier on. Like there was no way on earth I thought that by 8 weeks, like not even our parents would know. But the spotting that started around 5 weeks, like has actually continued pretty much every day since then. Like, I don't know if I've even had like one day where I didn't see spotting. Like it's not like every time that I go to the bathroom, but I would say most times on most days. So around 6 weeks was kind of when I was starting to, I don't want to say struggle, but I was starting to feel it a little bit, between being worried about the spotting and just generally feeling more tired. I really had to make a conscious effort at that point to slow down and just rest more often. I just felt like I physically could not keep up with the pace that I had been going before. I'd been trying to put out a video every single week for you guys, and I ended up having to cut back to every other week. And I mean, it was definitely hard not to feel disappointed in myself because I'd had a really long streak of posting every single week, and you know, at the end of the day, I just had to say, like, you know, my number one priority right now has to be like taking care of myself and making sure, you know, to the best of my ability, nothing happens to this baby. Another symptom I've had lately is like a random kind of like, not joint pain, but like, I mean, yeah, I guess we'll call it joint pain. So like it's really been like either my knee or my hip, and thankfully it's like not anything consistent at all, but like it'll just be sometimes that I'm just like either laying in bed or sitting on the couch, and like all of a sudden my knee or my hip will just like kind of start to hurt. And I've actually had to like change the way I sleep a little bit, So instead of sleeping like directly on my side, I'll kind of like angle myself a little bit this way so that I'm not like putting pressure directly on my hip. I'm still kind of sort of craving watermelon, but I have completely given up on eating it because it's just out of season and I know it's gonna not be good. Not really craving chicken anymore so much. Sometimes still if it's like chicken nuggets, I'm like, that sounds good right now. I like chicken strips. I've been trying, at least of late, to not eat that too much. I'm not craving chicken as much as I was before. Now I've been starting to crave carbs, which I think is really interesting. I'm really into the idea of like when you crave something, it's actually your body saying like, I need this, but it's not as simple as like, you know, when you crave chips, your body wants chips. It's like, you know, what nutrients are in there, like, you know, chips made of potatoes have protein in them, like maybe your body needs more protein, you know. I feel like that's not a great example, but like me craving like chicken strips is probably my body being like, you need more protein. And I think protein is something that like helps the baby grow a lot. And then lately I've been craving carbs, so I think that's like my body being like, you need more energy. You're not like supplying yourself enough energy, and it makes perfect sense because I feel like I've been really tired lately, and the past couple days I feel like I've started to like get my energy back a little bit. Not a ton, but just I feel like if you think of like the ebbs and flows of energy as your day goes on, I feel like my lows have been the same, but my high point in energy for the day has been a little higher lately than it usually is. I don't think I've really started eating more carbs necessarily, but it could also have to do with like, I guess like the placenta forming and like the hormonal load like changing course kind of. But yeah, I've really been craving a bagel and cream cheese and cereal, neither of which we have in the house right now, unfortunately, but I'm definitely literally today going to order some from Walmart. So we actually haven't had our first appointment yet. So I don't really have any of that kind of information to share with you guys, but in the future, that's definitely something that I'll talk about, you know, if I feel comfortable. It's definitely hard not being able to, you know, see the baby or, you know, even know if it has a heartbeat yet. Like, I am just absolutely dying to know if the baby has a heartbeat. Because, I mean, if the baby has a heartbeat, then all the spotting I've had, like, is probably just normal spotting. I mean, you know, I'm not even gonna let myself think about the other side. But yeah, so there are 2 different apps that I've been using to kind of like keep track of like, you know, what's happening in there. So the first one is Ovia Pregnancy, and the second one is The Bump. And I would definitely highly recommend both of those. If you're only going to get one, I would suggest Ovia because it's a lot more like medical focused, I think. And The Bump is just kind of like more like fun pregnancy kind of stuff. And I mean, they do have informational things as well. The craziest thing is that the baby already has hands. Like, I literally just almost cried this morning. So it has this little picture on the app on, this is on Ovia. And it shows like an outline of how big the baby's hand will be when it's born. I don't know if you can see it, but that little green dot right there is how big the baby's hand is right now. Like, I literally almost cried this morning because I was like, oh my god, my child has a hand. So I'm actually 8 weeks today. The baby is the size of, so this is gonna sound weird, but like another thing that I like about using like 2 apps is that like they just have different information. So I feel like it gives me a more like holistic view, I guess. Is that the word, holistic? All-encompassing view. It gives me a more well-rounded view, let's say that. So Ovia says the baby is the size of a wild strawberry. but I mean, I feel like I don't have a great reference of like wild strawberries. It's been a long time since I've been strawberry picking, but on the bump it says the baby is as big as a raspberry, which I feel like I have a lot more, like, I don't know why they used wild strawberry. That's really random because it's not the size of a regular strawberry. That's way bigger. The baby's the size of a raspberry, and they weigh as much as a jelly bean. I think that's really cute. I just want to like buy a bag of jelly beans now. I just hold it in my hand like. So something else that I wanted to do during these like pregnancy update videos is like obviously I'll show you my stomach and then like measure around my stomach to see like how I'm growing, I guess. So this is what my tiny little 8-week belly looks like. I took some pictures at 4 weeks and 6 weeks, but I haven't actually compared between, so I compared 4 and 6 and I didn't really see any difference, but I'm gonna compare that to this and see if there's any difference. I feel like it's a little bit different. Like I feel like kind of in this part of my stomach it's like a little bit firmer, a little bit rounding out rather than being like flatter here and then like stomach here. But it might just be my imagination or me getting my hopes up. I don't know. But yeah. I'm curious to see. So I've been using this same dress for all of my like pictures, the ones I did like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I'm probably not going to wear this every time I do a pregnancy update because I feel like that'd be kind of boring. But I'm going to try to do it for pictures. So it'll be interesting to see when this dress actually like no longer fits me. It'll be interesting. I really wish I had chosen a different dress, but I would have had to buy one that like, I saw a picture of someone wearing a dress. They were doing like bump progression pictures, and it was a dress that had like a bunch of like ruching on the side so that like it fit them when they were like 4 weeks and also fit them when they were like much further along. So that's what I should have done, but I did not. So I'm just gonna work with what I got for now. I also wanted to measure how big my stomach is so we can see that change as well. It's been a long time, honestly, since I've watched someone's pregnancy update. So I feel like I don't remember exactly like where around my body I'm supposed to measure. Like, should I do it like at my belly button? Should I do it at like the widest part of my stomach? Like I don't know. A little bit lower down, kind of like the widest point of my stomach. I am 37. So it'll be interesting to compare and see how I grow. One thing I actually forgot to talk about before was weight. So I don't 100% know if okay, yeah, we're just gonna go for it. To be completely honest, I do not think that I have ever shared my weight on the internet, but you know, there's a first time for everything. But I don't feel like I have to. I don't feel like I'm like obligated to tell you guys, but you know, I enjoy being open and honest about things, and I just think that, you know, it just makes me feel closer to you guys to be more authentic, I guess. So my weight is kind of an interesting story. So I've been tracking my weight kind of like on and off for the past like few months, for no particular reason really, but I've gained a lot of weight, sort of. So I'd always dreamed of like being in the best shape of my life before getting pregnant, and to be honest, kind of the opposite ended up happening to me. So like back in March, when I had a miscarriage, I was 138 pounds. And I was only, like, I wasn't even 6 weeks long when it happened, so like there was no like baby weight there. And I would say that's like pretty much around a good weight for me. Like I feel like, you know, 135 is probably like kind of more where I should have been if I'd been like exercising more consistently and stuff like that, or like even 130. So I'm 5'6" for comparison, clarity, whatever. But anyways, so between then and when I got pregnant this time around, I gained probably like 15 pounds, something like that. So I got pregnant in August. So I think I was around like, let's see. So I was around between like 147 and 150. So I gained like, I guess 10 pounds. Which is unfortunate because now I'm just starting this pregnancy, you know, way heavier than I've honestly been in my entire life, at least any point where I was weighing myself. So that's fun. So yeah, back in August I was like bouncing around between like 147, 150, and I've been kind of around like 148, 149 in like the past few weeks. So I don't think that I've gained any weight yet, really. I'd say my weight's really stayed about the same, or if anything I've even lost a pound or two because of like just trying to eat healthier. So we'll say that my starting weight is like a 149, honestly, because like I was consistently like 150, 151, 152 like a little bit before we started trying. And then I was like trying to like eat healthier and stuff when we started trying, so I think I lost a pound or two there. But like I'm definitely gonna like track my weight and see like that I'm, you know, gaining enough but not too much, and you know, all that good stuff. If you guys have any questions or any tips, or if you're pregnant and you want to share your symptoms, just leave it all in the comments down below. Like I said in the beginning, this video is like pre-filmed, so by the time you're seeing this video I will be past 8 weeks. Not sure how far along I'll be at that point, but let me see. So I'm due, at least according to my apps, I'm due May 12th. So I guess that'll give you somewhat an idea if you're like super curious of like how far I am when you're watching this. I hope you guys liked this video. Make sure you like it if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.